Hello, here we are once again with Mookie Tenembaum. We are exploring through these videos his philosophy, his disillusionism, and his misalgic theory about human behavior. And as we did last week and will continue to do in the following weeks, we are trying to offer an applied version of the concepts we have already discussed, trying to make things more concrete, trying to think in daily life examples to which, as I said, this philosophy can be applied. And today we are going to briefly discuss a concept we have explored already, which is the concept of goal, the concept of not the meaning of life, but the direction in which our life is conducted. And we are going to look at this from a practical point of view, from a disillusionist point of view, and see what light we can shed on the decisions we make and the behaviors we engage in when we look towards a goal, more or less lofty goal.
Well, yes. When we're going to talk about moving, and the moving is, when I was doing the Spanish version of this video, I had to explain that in the United States, people move around quite easily. For them, moving is nothing special. So culturally, it's a different video, the one in Spanish and the one in English. So I will have to tell you how is moving with the other guys in other parts of the world. Well, I guess you know. Basically, when you move out, you are moving to a place. And when you hear about people, you ask them, they say, we're moving to France. Wow, and you will ask, why France? Well, France has a lot of freedom. It's a very free country. And you can be whatever you want to be in France, and you don't have to have explanations, and it's a very free country. And you're thinking the guy is really moving out of, by his explanation, of North Korea, yes, at least, or Iran. But normally this guy is he's moving. He lives in Texas or in Buenos Aires, and or even in maybe I don't know, in Bolivia, in another country, and you hear from the way he talks about the place he's going to, that's not really the real reason, because in disillusionism we know one thing: we don't have aims. It's not, life is not going towards, going to. Life is running away from. From what? From suffering. This is misalgia. This we spoke in every video, I think, almost every video. And we run away from suffering, Florencio. And when we run away from suffering, we need a goal, because it feels better to have a goal. It feels that I'm not a coward. I'm not running away from something. No, I'm going to something very important. I'm probably thinking about the future of my children living in freedom. Or maybe I'm moving to another country because they take care of the environment better. Like, there is a difference between the environment in the country you go and the one that you left at the final result. Yes, if you destroy the environment, the whole global environment is being destroyed, not just the one. But it doesn't matter. So you will hear and a lot of epics, because this country has been 200 years fighting for freedom, and what I want to be part of that fighting in my country, in, let's say, Argentina, or really Bolivia, or Texas. You don't have the freedom to have there. But the truth is that probably he or she are running away from something. That thing that they are running away, which probably is related to the aim, to the place they're going, but not necessarily. They could be running away because the children are bullied at school, or because they themselves cannot get a good job in the area they live. It doesn't matter. So what they decide is to change the venue, to go to another country, yes, and take there, and that decision is supported by some kind of messianic powers that country has. What do you think, Florencio?
I'm thinking the example of moving out, I mean, when it's a big move, as the ones you are describing, not moving in the same block or in the same apartment compound, but moving away, is a good example in the sense that we know that which we are moving away from, and we know the sufferings we are willing to avoid. But it's difficult to know, and I guess here is where illusions come to play and stories come to play. It's hard to know which way we are moving towards. That which we have, we know, and there might be a reason for us to live. But where we are heading, it's usually just an image, is maybe a mirage. But I see the purpose of this. It's, as you said, it's better to feel I'm going towards than to feel I'm running away. But my question is, isn't there a practical, a technical cost in entertaining fantasies and stories and illusions about this purported direction of our behavior? Can this mess up with our whole, the efficiency of our whole plan?
Well, this is the point of this video, is to show that this mess ups with the efficiency. It's not efficient. It's not efficient not because I am looking for a certain result. It is not efficient because you are running away from a problem that you are ignoring. And thus, you may not look for a solution that will be cost effective. That means less suffering, less painful, instead of just moving out, which means a lot of things. Again, when you think about moving out, you see it again in pictures. Yes, we go there, and there is the truck that comes and take everything, and then it goes, and then you get there, and everything arrives. No. You know, moving, it's a big thing. You have to put everything in place with papers. I hate it. And I think a lot of people probably don't like it either. You have to do that, and then you have to put it in the truck, and then you're worried that the vase your mother-in-law gave it to you is going to be broken, and then you have to listen to her for the rest of your life. And then you remember that you're leaving your mother-in-law in that place. That's a good thing too. So I'm joking, but this detail, the detail of moving is also skipped. That, and of course the detail of where I'm going to go, because when you live in a life, you live in a movie. It's a movie. But when you think, and we talked about it many times, you think in little photograms, in just a photograph, a small photograph, a little thing. Sometimes when you are browsing the web and there is this little photograph that's annoying there, that you're looking for the little X. It's about that size. What we think about, and we imagine ourselves sitting in the city of Paris in a cafe. Yes, there drinking coffee in freedom. Like in Buenos Aires, you didn't have enough freedom for what you need. Again, there is no freedom. There is your freedom. How much you are free. Of course, you can say, I cannot be free if all the rest of the people are not free. All that is epics. All that is not true. All that goes beyond your egosphere. You are just a guy trying to survive and not suffering and not suffer. This is what you try to do. This is your aim. And when you look at what you're running away from, maybe you can solve it in a much simpler way than taking a whole group of people, moving them from one culture to the other. And then remember, you can take them, but they may not come back with you if you one day decide to come back. It's those decisions are not even thinking the magnitude they are because they are being you're being blinded by the light of the epics. The score, the musical score, makes you deaf as well.
You mentioned before that there is, of course, a difference in cultures, and there are cultures who can move more easily than others and deal with the changes of venue, as you say, maybe better. But in the end, isn't there a question related to what you've called sleepwalking through life? Isn't there a threat here for the proper way of sleepwalking through life in this picture, in this image, this isolated slide that is the goal we are directing our efforts towards, as opposed to the movie, the very detailed movie in which we are living?
Of course, the sleep, you are living in a place you have learned to sleepwalk. Apparently, you're living because you have a problem sleepwalking in that place, okay? But the place you're going, we spoke about it in our class theory. It's like going to changing classes. When you change into a class, you don't have all the habits. You don't have the habits of living in France. You may have been there 20 times. Still, listen, there is a very good example I lived through with a lot of friends of mine who immigrated to Israel out of Zionism. And you should listen to the 2,000 years. Suddenly you are allowed to go back to your land. Would you to do it? What your grandparents are looking for you in the sky and saying, you, Abraham, why don't you go? This is the whole, and then they go, and it's a song, hey, go, and then they can move the flags, the Israeli flags, and then it's over. And then you're sitting in your salon, which is very similar to the salon you left because you took the furniture with you. Yes. And nothing changed. The only thing that changed is now it's much harder to sleepwalk because these people speak a language you don't speak, or it's not your natural language. Their customs are very different from yours. And even the food is different, and everything is different. And you have your own sleepwalking at risk, your wife sleepwalking at risk, your children sleepwalking at risk, and everybody else, and the people you left who say, oh, how much we miss you. The whole thing makes sleepwalking very hard, thus putting you in a vulnerable position to suffer and pain more and more. Yes.
Yeah. But are we saying, as you said before in the class movement of sorts that we discussed already, and I think it's very related to this, very connected to this, are we saying that it would be better not to move? Is this disillusion connected to the disuasive argument? Should we stop moving around? Should we?
No, of course not. But are we too light about it? Are we because when you move, there is an aim out there. The other solutions may be not that sexy as this one. Remember, everybody's being accused of being a coward because he or she are running out of suffering. But we all do. You see, there are no. Everybody's a coward. Now, when everybody's a coward, nobody's a coward. So you have to be able to understand that, because if you don't, what disillusionism brings to the table is we make things simpler. Your decisions are going to be based on something you're not accustomed. Only facts, just facts. The rest is not important. Doesn't matter the adjectives, doesn't matter your illusions, doesn't matter your narrative, nothing. It's fact. And the fact is A, B, C, D. And again, I don't know the facts behind the guys running away, but what I'm trying to claim is that he or she does not know either. And if they knew, they may have changed the decision or the way they decide, or the extent of the decision, or the reversibility of the decision. You need facts to make a decision, and this, as I say, the whole epics behind it does blind you, and the music, the score, makes you deaf. And you're just gone. And then you realize one day, sitting in front of the television, you don't understand half the words. I say, why am I here? Why am I here?
No, and as you said, the I and why am I here, it's still the same. You cannot move away from yourself. Whatever your troubles were, deep down, they must be with you in the new salon.
At least part of them. But now the problem is that you were accustomed to deal with them in the other country, and you could, part of the time at least, sleepwalk. Because if you cannot sleepwalk at all, you probably go crazy. But now it's even harder to sleepwalk. And it's not something that it came out from the sky. If you would have thought about it, if you would have taken the disillusionist approach, that means look at the facts as they are, not as they want them to be, or not as the people tell me, or not the ones I tell others so they don't laugh at me, or they don't, or my own discourse. Yes, when I talk, when I take all that out, I'm in a better position to make a decision that will save you a lot of pain.
Very good. So I'm sure we'll come back to this at some point, but it's clear enough with this moving out example. Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.